Okay, so I just did a YouTube community post and I asked what my next video should be about, and I did 4 suggestions, and y'all picked super easy beginner oil painting tutorial for dummies. I guess y'all are dumbasses just like me. I get comments and messages from people being like, I did your tutorial and it didn't end up like your painting. Girl, listen. First of all, I'm assuming if you're coming to me looking for painting tutorials, you have not painted as many paintings as me. And because I've painted so many paintings, I'm gonna be a little bit better at painting paintings. I don't even know how many paintings I've painted hundreds of paintings. How many paintings have you painted? You have to keep painting out your bad paintings to get to the ones you like. But you can get there. You can get to the skill level that other people are at. You just have to practice, and you can't be there and be like, well, my painting didn't turn out like their painting, so I'm bad at painting. I will not stand for that behavior. And if this painting still doesn't turn out like you want it to, try again. Try again. It's not gonna turn out how you want it to the first time. I'm requiring that of you. You are not allowed to give up. If you wanna get better at painting, you have to do it that way. And if you continue to practice, you are gonna see improvement. I guarantee it, dummy. From one dummy to another, you're gonna see improvement, okay? I feel a little aggressive this video. But that being said, we're gonna make this the stupidest, most dumbed down painting tutorial I can possibly make it. It's gonna be an oil painting tutorial. We're gonna be doing some water. It's gonna be so simple and so basic, and I'm gonna talk through every single seemingly obvious thing, as beginner and dummy as you can get, okay? Hopefully, you will find it helpful and you'll have some kind of basis to start painting, okay? So here we go. Simple, basic, easy. Painting tutorial for idiots like you and me. First and foremost, I'm gonna talk about every single little item I use to make this painting. So here we've got titanium white. I always use the most, God, I have the squeakiest chair. You hear that? It's from IKEA, what are you gonna do? So here we got titanium white, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, Indian yellow, and Windsor red deep. Windsor red deep. These 2 guys, it's less important in this specific painting what kinds of yellows you're using. You could totally use a medium yellow, you can use a light yellow, and we're not gonna use almost any red at all. Like maybe like the tiniest little dab to try and mute some colors. The important colors that you need are the white and the cerulean blue and the ultramarine blue. And we may not actually use the ultramarine blue. We'll figure it out as we go along. We're doing this together. We're in it together. We're gonna figure it out together. We're a team here. Those are paints, and because they're oil paints, you can't just wash it off with water like you do with acrylics. A lot of people use paint thinner to wash their brushes when they're painting, like in between colors. I don't like to use it. It's super chemically. I worry about my health and all that kind of stuff. So what I use is soap. I have a big bucket of painter soap. This is the Masters brush cleaner. You don't have to get this massive size. They have ones that are like this big, super little, or you could just use some dish soap to help clean your brushes. A lot of times when I'm painting with oils, I'll just, because I have so many brushes, I'll just not worry about cleaning in between brushes and just use a ton of them and clean them all at the end. But if you don't have as many brushes as me, if you want to switch colors when you're oil painting, get some soap on there, wash it off, and it'll be good to go. Speaking of brushes, I have so many brushes. Beautiful noise. I have my palette. So I use a frame from the dollar store as my palette. What else do we got? What else do we got? Oh, and most importantly, something to paint on. So what I use are little wood panels that I cut from a big piece of MDF board that I get at Home Depot. I have a video called Home Depot Art Hacks where I talk about how I do that. What you do is you gesso them. I have a Liquitex professional gesso, but if you don't have specific gesso, you can take white acrylic paint and do like 3 or 4 coats, whether you're using cloth or wood or paper. Cover it with some gesso before you start your oil painting. That way it won't destroy anything. Got it? I also have, you see, this little easel. Oh, 2 more things actually. Paper towels so I can brush off paints if I'm going in between colors, or if I just have too much paint on my brush. Have this little paper towel handy. And I always use a palette knife to mix. I love palette knives. If you don't have one of these, you really should get some. All right, okay, that's everything. That's all our materials. We're gonna get started by mixing up some colors for this painting. I'm gonna tell a girl like her girl who's merely lovely. The sky, we're gonna take a little bit of this cerulean blue and a little bit of this ultramarine blue. Mix that together. Little bits of white, because our sky isn't that dark. There we go. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna set it aside over here. Next up, we need our darkest ocean color. So it's gonna be more of a teal. Add a little bit of yellow because we need to green up. Woo, I made it super green, okay. If you're mixing colors and you're really finding that you just cannot get the color you want from what you have, scrap it, start over. Toss it to the side. You always have the opportunity to start fully over again. So we have a dark tealy kind of color. Now we want like a bright teal kind of color. So I'm gonna take more of this. This one's gonna be more green, actually. I'm gonna take some of my yellow and I'm gonna add some white. Adding in some more cerulean, just a little smidge too green for me right now. That's more like it. I'm liking that much, much, much better. Oh, a tool that I forgot. I have this little scraper guy. I'm gonna have a very, very light color because this teal is gonna mix into our sand color. So right now I'm making a kind of a transitional color for that. I'm adding lots of white and a little more yellow. This is gonna be our hardest color to mix. Tan, yellowish kind of colors are always super hard to figure out. Good chunk of white for this guy. And to get a kind of tan color, I'm gonna add little bits of almost all of these colors. So I'm gonna start with yellow. I'm gonna take a tiny dab of red, and then I'm also gonna take a little bit of blue to try and mute it all. So let's mix that up and see where we get. So I'm gonna add more yellow. So I definitely need to be more vibrant. Tiny, tiny smidge more red, just literally like a dot, like a tiny small little dot. And then a tiny small dot of cerulean this time. When I'm mixing up a color that I know is hard to mix, I'm very slow and careful about it. But take your time here, don't rush it. Set it aside, but take a little more and try and make this color just a little more vibrant. These are our basic colors we're gonna be using for this painting. We're probably gonna tweak these up just a smidge as we go along, but that's the basics of it. We're very, very baby beginners, baby painters. Look at all these brushes we got to work with. So we're gonna start with a nice flat brush. We're gonna start painting on our sky color. I'm gonna start putting some of this blue on my brush, putting it on my canvas. This is one kind of intermediate thing we're gonna be doing for this painting. So I want the sky to be darker at the top and then move a little bit to a lighter color as we move down to the sky. I'm gonna take a little bit of white, just a tiny bit, and I'm gonna mix it. Now remember, the areas that I'm leaving white here are gonna have some clouds in it. Nice wispy clouds, not big fluffy clouds. I'm adding in some of this light blue color in areas where the wispy clouds are gonna be, because the wispy clouds are gonna make a kind of gradient look on some of these areas. So we're almost getting to her horizon line. And our horizon line is gonna be the lightest of the blue you get. Clouds kind of look however they want to look. There is no certain way for a cloud to look specifically. So if your clouds look much different than the clouds that I'm painting right now, it is not a problem. All clouds look very, 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 very different. Very last of all, I'm going in with some pure white, plain old white. Here's our sky. It's looking a little bit choppy right now. I'm gonna take a soft bristled brush. See this brush? The bristles on it are super soft, it's big, it's wide, and it's 100% dry. And kind of blend these areas so they look really smooth and pretty. Be very, very soft and very, very gentle when you're doing this. You're not like pushing the brush in and scraping it across. You're gonna very softly, like the wing of a butterfly, brush it in. So now we have some pretty blendy, brushed out clouds. There's a couple areas where I blended it a little too much, so I'm gonna go back in with my bright blue that we originally had, and I'm gonna cover up some of those areas that I just brushed out a little too much. I wanna define them just a smidge more. My skyline is a little uneven. If I pull out a ruler here, I need a little more sky color on this side. So I'm gonna tweak that real quick. That's better, much more even. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a gradient of colors. This dark teal, a little bit of that lighter teal, the lightest teal, and then our sand colors. So now we're ready to start making our gradient. I'm gonna take the brush I used for this bright blue, because it's a similar color to this. Very slowly, very carefully, right where the horizon is. We're making a very, very careful line to define where the sky meets the sea. What we're gonna do is start adding our next color. We want them to blend together smoothly. So I'm gonna take my next color. Changed my mind, I did it too dark. Too dark. I want to lighten it up a little bit. Using your fingers is not the preferred method for getting oil paint off your canvas, but hey, sometimes you just do things that you wouldn't decide to do if you were actually thinking and had a brain. Maybe if I had a brain, I wouldn't do that. But remember, this is for dummies, painting for dummies. We're allowed to be dummies here. It's okay to be dumb here. This is a dummy safe space. I'm lightening up this color just a smidge. I want it to be a little bit brighter. Now that we have that, I'm gonna pull in my lighter color. I'm not liking how that skyline looks like as of right now, so I'm gonna go in and add more of my dark color to it. Now that we did the water gradient, we're gonna be switching to sand color. I'm actually gonna blend a little color. I'm gonna take a little bit of each of these. I'm gonna blend it together a little bit. I'm going with my sand color. Ooh, it looks really pretty. I love how the sand color looks on my board. I thought I might have to tweak it a little bit, but I really like how it looks. I'm gonna take another super soft brush and I'm going to gently brush out everything. For our details, we're gonna need some pretty small brushes. So small! So I'm gonna use that little color I mixed up. It's just our sky color mixed with a little bit of white, just like we did a couple times with our sky. Carefully and softly draw a couple streaks. Did that. I want to softly blend this out, just very soft, so soft. Now we're going to do the white water. So this is us defining exactly where the edge of the water is. And I'm going to start adding details, kind of like little foam bits. So now that we made that, I'm gonna take this sand color that I made originally, mix it with a little bit of this teal, and I'm gonna create a kind of shadow look. I want a little bit of shadow to create some kind of dimension, so I'm gonna add this little slightly darker color right where the sand and the water are meeting, just a little bit in a few areas, trying to create a little bit of dimension. And then finally, just for a little touch, I'm gonna add a couple streaks of this darker color to the sand in areas where like maybe the water pulls into some valleys. I'm just gonna brush in a couple areas I think I want to thin out a smidge more. Here we go. That's what we made together. I hopefully talked through all the points that you needed to make this painting how you want it to be. Remember, practice, practice, practice. Anyone can paint. To get a painting to be exactly what you want it to be though, you need a little bit of practice. And with practice, you can be freaking amazing. I swear on my life, you can be an amazing painter. I hope you liked that tutorial. I hope it was easy enough for you. I hope you're not offended by me calling you a dummy, because I am also a dummy, self-proclaimed dummy. It's okay to be a dummy. We're dummies together and we're learning. We're learning. If you like this tutorial and you tried it and you're ready for something maybe a little more experienced, I have a bunch of other tutorials. They're all walkthroughs of paintings that I've done. I'm also on Instagram at EmilyMackeyArt. I'm about to have a huge moving sale coming up, so be on the watch out for that on my website. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. I'll continue to do more tutorials and I will see you next time.